I've never been the type of guy to talk about my feelings. I never had to be. Growing up, I learned how to bottle things up, push through, and keep moving forward. I thought I was good at it. Good at handling disappointment. Expect it, brace for it, and just deal with it. It's the mindset you develop when you're used to being let down. But the day she told me he's everything, that was the day I felt something crack inside of me. I knew then that it was over. It wasn't the first time we thought about him, Jason, her work friend who had suddenly become a regular fixture in our lives. At first, it was nothing, casual mentions, friendly updates. But slowly I started to feel a shift. I noticed in the way her eyes lit up when she spoke about him. The way she would take his calls in another room, always closing the door just a little too quickly. I wasn't stupid. I could see it happening, even if I didn't want to admit it. But I didn't say anything. Not right away. I gave her space. I kept quiet, convincing myself I was just overthinking things. Maybe I was. Maybe I wasn't. But then came the night she finally said it. She looked at me. Her eyes filled with something I couldn't even recognize, something that made me feel like a stranger in my own home. He's everything. He just gets me. She didn't even look at me when she said it. She just sat there, almost as if she were talking about the weather, like it was some casual observation. For a moment, I didn't know how to respond. I wasn't angry, not at first. I wasn't even upset. I was just numb. Because when she said those words, I realized I wasn't her everything anymore. That someone else had already taken my place. I should have fought for her. I should have begged her to reconsider, to remember everything we had. But I didn't. I couldn't. Instead, I stood up, took a deep breath, and said the words that felt so bitter as they left my mouth. If he's everything, then go be with him. I'm not going to keep fighting for something you've already decided isn't worth it. And just like that, I walked out. No scene, no drama, no tears, just silence. It was too quiet. The kind of quiet you feel in your chest, like your heart's trying to break, but doesn't have the strength to do it. For the first few weeks, I barely slept. I rented a tiny one-room apartment. The walls were bare, the floor cold, and the night stretched on longer than I ever remembered. I would lie awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment, trying to make sense of it all. What did I do wrong? What could I have done differently? But slowly, almost against my will, I started to heal. Not because I wanted to, but because I had no choice. I got used to the silence. I started going to gym just to keep busy, to remind myself that there was still something worth fighting for inside of me. I got a new job, reconnected with old friends. I started living my life the way I thought I would without her. I didn't reach out to her. I didn't check her social media. I didn't care who she was with. But every now and then, I would catch myself thinking about her, about us. And that's when I realized something. I didn't miss her. Not really. I missed the version of her that I had in my mind. The version of her that would never leave. The version of her who still chose me. I started to see it all for what it was. We had built something together. Something strong. But it wasn't enough for her anymore. And that was okay. I thought about how I used to put her needs first. How I always tried to be the guy she needed me to be. But what I never realized until after I left was that I hadn't been being the guy I needed to be for myself. 6 months passed. And then one evening, she called. At first, I almost didn't pick up, but something in me knew this call was coming. Maybe not tonight, but eventually. Can we talk? Her voice was quiet, uncertain, and I could hear the hesitation in her tone. For a moment, I just listened. I couldn't help but notice how different she sounded, like she had been carrying a weight I never saw. Where are you? I asked, keeping my voice steady. She hesitated before answering. I'm at the cafe down the street. I know it's in a while, but I need to say something. I didn't know what she was going to say, but I agreed. When I saw her sitting there, looking smaller, more vulnerable than I remembered, something hit me. I realized how much I had changed in those months. 2. She was wearing the same coat I used to love. Her hair was a little longer, but everything about her seemed quieter, smaller, almost like the woman I knew was fading away. Hey, I said, sitting across from her. She looked at me, her eyes tired but filled with a kind of realization that I didn't expect. I've been thinking a lot about everything, about us, about him, about how I ended up here. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. I was so sure she thought he was everything. But she continued, her voice cracking. But I was wrong. He's not. And I hurt you, didn't I? I didn't answer her. There was nothing to say. She had already known the answer. She had already known she lost me, even before she admitted it. I realize now, she said softly, that I wasn't looking for him. I was looking for something I thought was missing, and I couldn't find it in me. I thought he was the answer, but I was wrong. You were everything. You always were. I looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time in months, and I realized something that hit me harder than anything she could have said. She wasn't the same person anymore, and neither was I. I'm sorry, she whispered. I know it's too late. I know that now. For a moment, I felt the weight of everything she had taken from me, everything we had been, but I also felt something else. Peace. I wasn't angry. I wasn't sad. I was just done. You should have known that a long time ago, I said quietly. But I get it. I do. I just wish you had figured it out before it broke us. She looked down, wiping away a tear. I know. With that, I stood up. I didn't look back as I walked out of the cafe. I didn't need to, because in the end, I was the one who had finally figured it out. I left when she said he was everything. And when she realized what she lost, I was already gone. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me. If you've ever been told you're not enough, don't chase someone who can't see it. Because if they don't recognize your worth when it's right in front of them, they'll never truly appreciate it. Let them go. You'll find peace in that space. And when you do, you'll realize you never needed them to begin with.